that you were speeding along a winding road at night with the headlights of the car behind you glaring into your rearview mirror. And yet, you were able to see the face of the shooter 50 feet behind you.
50 feet? I wish. Son of a bitch was tailgating. Pardon my French.
Mr. Zakara, you're no stranger to the courtroom, are you?
Objection. Prejudicial.
I just want to make sure that Mr. Zakara understands the penalty for perjury.
Objection. Your Honor, Ms. Davis is clearly using innuendo to undermine the witness.
Sustained. Let's skip the editorializing, Miss Davis, and get on to your question.
Mr. Zakara, despite the speeding vehicles, the dark night, the high beams, you're able to identify the shooter as Mr. Corinthos.
Yes. His son, the cop who took my statement, he didn't want to believe me either. But it doesn't change the facts.
Which are?
I've got great eyesight.
Really?
I eat a lot of carrots.
Good for you. Mr. Zakara, would you be so kind as to read this for the court?
It's fine print a mile away, Counselor.
And yet you can see Mr. Corinthos' face through a tinted windshield at night. How about this? No further questions.
A redirect, Your Honor. Mr. Zakara, Miss Davis's clever theatrics aside, is it your sworn testimony that you recognized the defendant, Sonny Corinthos, as the man who shot out your tires?
That's right.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You step down, Mr. Zakara.
Sorry, kid. I tried my best.
Any further witnesses, Mr. Martinez?
Prosecution rests, Your Honor.
I just assumed that that little bundle of joy was your husband's. What if you're taking a DNA test? Maybe not.
Well, there are all kinds of reasons to do a DNA test. Just give
And
me
then
that.
when you add that to the fact that you almost fainted when I told you that Jason and Franco were twins, you slept with
No,
Jason's
you have no
brother?
idea what you're talking
Oh,
about.
I think Jason's the one in the dark. You are taking some chances, Sammy. Lying to your husband, keeping secrets.
Come on, I'm gonna tell Jason about the DNA test as soon as I know the results.
Not if I tell him first.
If you breathe a word of this to Jason before I am ready to tell him,
You'll what?
I will have a little conversation with Stephen and let him know that you sold your cousin's baby just like you sold him.
Stephen knows I'm not perfect.
Oh, there's imperfect, and then there's you, Heather. I mean, I would hate for something to come out to change Stephen's opinion of you. He is the one keeping you out of Ferncliff.
Are you threatening me?
Well, no. I am just saying that your relationship with your son is important to you. Just as important as my relationship to Jason. Which means you're gonna keep quiet. I mean, think, Heather. We both have a lot to lose.
As the prosecution has rested, the defense will now present its case. Miss Davis, call your first witness.
The defense will not be calling any witnesses, Your Honor.
No witnesses?
What the hell are you doing?
My job.
Okay, but I don't want as much money as I pay you. You could have gotten an expert witness who put me on the stand.
And have the DA cross-examine you, no way.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
Is going to tell you that Mr. Corinthos is too smart a man to leave a gun behind in his girlfriend's office. But by Miss Howard's own admission, she and Mr. Corinthos were caught up in a moment of passion. Clothes were shed. Now, it's the state's contention that in the heat of this moment, Mr. Corinthos dropped his gun on the very spot where the police recovered it. Mr. Corinthos openly admitted his intention to murder Anthony Zakara. Mr. Zakara swore that he saw Mr. Corinthos shoot out his tires. As I promised, all you have to do is follow the logic. Sonny Corinthos had motive, means, and opportunity. For the sake of that little girl and her father who both died, for the sake of a grieving mother whose life has been shattered, I ask that you convict Michael Sonny Corinthos on all counts.
Well, the district attorney is right about one thing. Justice does need to be found for that little girl and her father that were killed on that awful night. But it is not just to convict the wrong man, and you have heard witness after witness swear that Mr. Corinthos did not shoot anyone, with the exception of Anthony Zaccara, whose integrity is questionable as his eyesight. All right, let's talk about the gun that was found in Ms. Howard's office. That gun could have been left by anyone. It could have been left by the cleaning staff. It could have been left by Ms. Howard's staff at Crimson. It could have been left by Ms. Howard. So really, all you have is a story made up by the prosecution to try to explain this horrible accident. But it's all conjecture, speculation. No proof. There is no proof. Because the story that the prosecution told you isn't true. Mr. Corinthos did not cause the accident that killed Cole and Hope Thornhart. But somebody did. And the police need to be able to find that person. So I am asking you to do the right thing and acquit my client. The cops need to get back to work. Thank you.
So, do we have a deal?
How do I know you won't double-cross me like you did last time?
Oh, because this time I've got lots of incentives. So glad we could come to an understanding.
Samantha, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the baby's Franco's.